The days feel long, the nights are cold.
I don't know what season you're in or if life just feels like so much heavier. Like maybe you're going through heart-wrenching diagnosis, miscarriage, grief, abuse, trauma. I mean, there's so many things. Or just like a general sense of not doing well and trying to hold it all together. And while you're carrying all of that, like you still have little people looking to you for comforts and a home to manage. And I think one of the hardest things that a mother can ask is, how do I keep discipling my children and being intentional while my life is literally falling apart? To kind of fill you in, like I have been in probably the hardest season of my life. And I've been in this place of like, okay, Lord, where are you? What do you want to do with me? And how can I faithfully build a new life that God has for me and not trying to necessarily have life as it once was? Because the reality is sometimes when that life gets shattered, it just doesn't ever get rebuilt that same way. But if you're in this season, I want to help you with the root framework that I created, ROOT. And the first one, R, is to restore your environment. For me, whenever I have like major grief, first thing that I do is I just start like decluttering and simplifying. And obviously a clean house cannot heal a broken heart or can't heal traumas and griefs and losses. And one of the root frameworks that I created is like, what areas of my home feel chaotic and what is something that I can simplify to make my home feel more peaceful. Washing your bed sheets, decluttering a drawer, starting a donation box, creating a peaceful prayer corner, just anything that can feel like your environment has some sense of order and control. Moving on to O, which is owning your well-being. I think mothers can fall into this trap of like trying to take care of everybody else except themselves. But we can't pour from empty cups. And especially as mothers who have little children that depend on us, like there has to be a place, and this is where it's so hard, is that there has to be a place where we continue to care for other people, but we cannot neglect ourselves in the midst of that. Like I went thrifting, our Goodwill on Mondays has $1 sales. So I went every Monday, I had something to look forward to, and I just thrifted a bunch of dresses and just fresh outfits without spending much money, to make me feel a little bit like just a fresh version of me. And I had a friend buy me a journal, and I just made it like my grief journal. I just put scriptures and my tears and just everything down. Playing worship music at night. And so whatever I needed to do to like nourish and to simplify my meals. And again, it's not like those things healed my pain. It's not like, buying new clothes and drinking yogurts, like that was gonna help steady me. But what it did is allowed me some breathing room and some space to care for my own well-being while I had to take care of my children and my home and all the things. The third thing was opening yourself to support. We're never made to do hard things in life by ourselves. What I ended up doing is like I called my pastoral team, I called my leadership, I called a few friends. I ended up seeking out a Christian therapist. I ended up just surrounding myself with like, what do I need? And obviously being pregnant, some things I needed was like physical, hands-on, like texting a friend to come help take out the trash or whatever I needed to just find some kind of like footing and community while I was falling apart. And sometimes, what I did too, I've never done this before, is I hired a mommy's helper. So I was still able to be at the house, but I had someone there just to come help me, just be there for me in a way that I needed. I have this little comment like, strength isn't carrying everything by yourself. It looks like allowing someone else to help carry the load. And isolation always makes our suffering so much heavier, whereas community makes it lighter. Anyways, and obviously there's disappointments that come in that, there's failed expectations and all those things. But at the end of the day, we should never grieve or suffer or, go through painful trials alone. I mean, it's already so devastating and lonely and isolating. And the least that we can do is like just reach out for that support and being open when people want to love us and serve us, to saying yes. And then last but not least, I said T, take the next faithful step. And so instead of asking, like for me, I just get so planner minded and so like 20 years ahead. And I'm like asking, how do I fix my entire life? And how do I just like, solve this whole pain, instead of asking like, what's the next faithful step? Like sometimes it's as simple as like getting out of bed. Sometimes just like taking a shower, brushing my hair, like sometimes it's so simple. And that really is like how we remain faithful, like as we're rebuilding, as we're healing in the midst of mothering our children. Like, okay, Today I'm gonna take my kids out to the park. I'm gonna take them to the library because I can't mentally and emotionally manage all of that I'm suffering here at the house alone. But if I switch environments and just do one thing to bring normalcy to my children or to bring joy or laughter to them, it almost brings me out of my slump of despair, you know? These are just gonna create little stability when things feel so out of control. And they really anchor us, these little small acts. Taking a shower will help me feel 1% better. And so even though I love self-care and I believe what fills my cup, sometimes in devastating seasons, it's I don't really know what brings me joy, because right now I'm in so much despair that nothing brings me joy, and I don't even know who I am anymore, and I don't know how to function. And the thought of going and doing joyful things just doesn't really quite exist in those devastating places. But what I can ask is what's gonna help me feel 1% better, or maybe healthier or stronger, or just what's 1% that I can do today? And that's just taking that next faithful step. And I even sometimes it's hard to even think about that. What does that even look like? And so I created this 50 simple ways of stabilizing when life feels overwhelming. And I just created a whole list. And obviously the goal is not to go do this whole list, just do one thing at a time. But yeah, that can just be so healing, especially for moms that have to keep going for their children. And so the next faithful step won't rebuild your life overnight, but 1,000 of faithful steps will. And eventually you'll look back and say, wow, I am not where I was, and I'm so much further along in the Lord and healthier as a person today than I was when I started, and I never thought there would be hope or an ending to anything. And so anyways, while you're rebuilding, I want you to just encourage you, your kids don't need a mom that has it all together. They don't, you don't need to have perfect stability and just this perfect way of life. Your kids, what they need to see in you as you're faithfully rebuilding and healing and stabilizing is a mom that continuously turns to Jesus. A mom that keeps showing them what faith looks like when life is hard, what perseverance looks like, what humility looks like, and what trusting God looks like. Because one day your kids are gonna look back and they're really not gonna remember all the details of your life, but they will remember the culture of mom turns to Jesus, mom turns to prayer, to worship, to the Lord, to comfort, whatever, for healing. And that's gonna anchor them in their faith when their life gets hard. And so anyways, I created this little free root recovery workbook, and it's also part of my Raising Little Disciples guide, which is getting a full launch and full workbook. And yeah, so if this video encouraged you, let me know in the comments below maybe what your next faithful step is that you're going to do. But in the meantime, I'll be praying for your healing and for the Lord's peace to go with you. And until next time, bye.